Education, Laurie Kilmartin.
Hi.
Hello. All right. I have had a few glasses of wine.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jackie, I'm going to be fun tonight.
Is this fun, Laurie?
Plug
and play is what it is. It's Kyle and I can just sit right back.
Hell yeah.
And watch you dig a hole in your career.
Do it.
Go for it.
Thanks for having me on your show tonight. That was fun.
It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good one. And other than that,
I just had a question to ask you.
Sure.
So you have all these really great true stories.
Mm-hmm.
Is there are you going to start lying at the end of them to wrap it up? You know what I mean? Like I've taken some truths and then I've gone that are obviously lies, but the audience is already there with you, so it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Are you going to do that?
I never have.
Girl, let me sell you on it.
You know, I have to tell you, I was sold lying from a very early age.
Right.
So for me to do it now for the art makes me, for the job, makes me kind of, I'm twitchy. I'm not against it. Let's hear the pitch.
No, that's it. I didn't know what's the point in the story that you start to make shit up, but it's still keeping in thematically staying in, on point. But
right.
It goes to a silly place.
Right.
The audience could assume was lying if they were to do some post-op dissection of your act afterwards, but at the time is half buzzed and just wants to have a good time. You know what I mean? So they're going to laugh.
Right. I think there's definitely a twist on this stuff where I take something that's super personal and I make it bigger, or I take something that's a big topic and I make it super personal with a personal anecdote. And so there's always the humor sometimes lies in the switch.
Mm-hmm.
And but you're saying stay in the personal and then just make up, and then we went to the moon, but something funny.
Yeah, something that's not as crazy, but is slightly believable. But it's like that thing of, well, this guy said to me, so then I said this. It's like, no, you didn't say that. You thought it a few years later after mulling it over every single night for 36 months straight, right?
Right.
That's okay because you aren't promising truth. You're just promising laughs. So it's okay, in my opinion, to. Especially when the first part is true. It's almost like like a monologue joke. The setup is true and the punchline is false, right?
Right.
Always, right? So I think that can work in a story where your initial part is true, because this isn't the moth, okay? We're fucking trying to work the funny bones, all right? So, and then it gets, however it gets,
mm-hmm.
but it wouldn't get so crazy because you're not that kook yourself, where it's not going to seem like it could be kind of true, but it'll still be funny enough and still be part of thematically your act. That's
right. There's something there. I did not think that you were going there. I thought, because this is my thing, I thought you were going to say, isn't there a book? Isn't there a book in this? All the true stories?
Well, if you think I would suggest a book on anyone I like, absolutely not. Believe me, I'm stuck in a horrible limbo.
I've thought about, recently I've thought about this book, which is that, because, have you ever read any of Stuart Lee's books?
No.
Because what he does is he takes his hour of stand-up
mm-hmm.
and breaks it down.
I got to read that book. What book is that?
Christ, what's the green one called?
It's called Stand-Up Comedian, I believe. Because I think he named it after the thing. Or shit, now I got to look it up. This was literally
one
one of the first conversations I had with you, Jackie.
Right. It was. I recommend the green one because I'm in it. What? No.
Yeah.
And
that's how I escape my certain fate.
Oh, that's how I escape my certain fate. That's it.
Okay.
And what he does is he has a transcript of his hour. And then he breaks it down and he talks about the writing of the bit, and he talks about and he annotates where the bit is at that moment or where it came from, and all of these interesting.
Wow.
And it can't be done if you do sort of one-liner. Like, it wouldn't work with a Mitch Hedberg kind of
No, no,
set.
no,
Or
but
maybe it would.
But what, like, for example, like the story you have about your dad and the surgeon and the old guy.
Yeah.
You have three characters and you've given them each a great personality. And I think that's when, after you get them in the room together, that's when you start writing. That's what I say.
Oh, interesting.
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah. I
And
think
it
that,
could-
yeah.
Somehow it could call back to the original, whatever thing that was truthful. Maybe if you wrote that whole part down, it could call back to it and be a nice way to end it. But I don't know what it is. But that seems like the what you've set it all up perfectly right there.
Right. And it would be and it's an interesting thing to write too.
Yes.
Because I don't have an end for that thing. And it needs it. So.
But it's a great story. It's a great story because it's quite informative. But also what I wanted to know is how is the double dipping happening?
Oh, because so the hospitals and the surgeons all get paid, right? For by Medicare, and people have a secondary insurance.
Right. So
this guy got a third bill from each of them.
That's not legal though, is it?
Well, it's certainly,
unless it was elective.
It wasn't elective. The guy's 92, 93 years old. It was not elective.
Getting breast implants or anything like that.
I think he was getting his eyes done. What? So.
but I mean, yeah, okay. My mom, her multiple medical situations never cost any money because she's on Medicare and her secondary insurance. So I was just wondering, like, that seems illegal what that guy was doing.
Well, it was totally gougy, which is why my dad saw those bills and was like, "No way.
Yeah,
you can't actually do that."
Do you need to explain to people that when you're saying double dipping, triple dipping, that the doctor's already getting paid by the hospital via Medicare? Do you
think that's unclear when I say
I think if you don't know that, if you don't have old parents, you don't know about Medicare, except that it should be for all.
I'll look into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all about clarity. It turns out a lot of people want to talk to me about my material. You get to.
Let's hear it. I saw the little version on the chat. I was like, don't say anymore, Jackie. We're taping tonight.
It literally, so I did Maria's show last night. Mm-hmm. And, I've been working on that gender sexuality bit for at least 2 years.
Yes.
And so when I first started working on it, I thought, how you come up with a premise and you come up with some jokes and you're like, this is so helpful. In addition to being hilarious, and it's done. And then it's something weird. It's like a weird topic, whether it's rape or it's incest or it's the crime of some sort.
We could call them trigger topics, where you need to proceed daintily to get where you need to go.
Yeah, it's a minefield when you want to talk about something super real, right? Mm-hmm. But you want to make a joke about it, and you want to sort of, this is a tangent, but when I think about Will and Grace, mm-hmm. and I'm not a huge fan of a lot of sitcoms, right? I get it. I've watched thousands of sitcoms, but so Will and Grace for me was okay. It wasn't my favorite. Some people it was their favorite, but what it did was it normalized gay people to some extent. And it also caricaturized, like you look back on it and it's a caricature. When you look back on it, there's you cringe a little bit unless you have a historical perspective on it when you're like, I see what they're doing.
Right.
They're getting conservative whitey magoos used to the idea that gay people are among us. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be just fine.
Right.
And they too are stupid or funny or they trip and they have issues. So, but that is sometimes the point and purpose of a bit. Like you want to talk about something that happened to you or that happened to someone you know or love. Mm-hmm. And it's a big fucking trigger topic. Mm-hmm. And so the gender and sexuality thing is so out there in the zeitgeist. It's in society right now, everywhere I turn. I must have had like 18 people in the last 3 years change their pronouns on me.
Really?
Yeah. And so,
Everyone I know that has done that has been a comic.
okay, well, I've got nieces and nephews, and I've got friends with kids, and all these, a lot of,
we Jesse Thorne.
yeah.
Yes, Jesse Thorne's. Are we allowed to say that? Maybe we're not. Maybe we shouldn't cut that out.
Let me get it.
Make a note.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of people who are talking about it. So I was like, what do I think about this, and how can I kind of normalize it?
Mm-hmm.
And there's no better way to normalize something that isn't right in front of you all the time, that isn't in your fishbowl with you, than comedy, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been working on this gender sexuality thing. And so every time I would do it, I would get either other comics, some of the younger crew would come up and go, I know what you're trying to do. Actually kind of offensive. You're actually missing the mark. Or this, there's angles that you're coming from sort of this, this, I'm sitting next to my own castle in my fishbowl, not seeing other, distorted, right?
Yeah.
And so I've been taking feedback for this bit for two years.
Right.
And so I feel like I would have recorded the version that it is at right now in December.
Okay.
So last night I do the bit.
So to you, it's done.
To me, it's done.
Yes.
But it's still in that sweet spot of it's done, but I love doing it.
Yeah, but it's done, but you're not sick of it.
I'm not sick of it, and I'm perfecting the timing, and it's going to take me a month on the road when we get out of this to really make the timing happy again. Yeah. So Maria gets a Facebook comment saying, I loved the show, but I hated, I was disappointed that I had to find $15 that I didn't have really to watch your opener who was transphobic or insulting trans people. And so Maria tagged me so that I could be part of the dialogue. And I do, and I come in and I'm like, wait, what, I've been getting a lot of feedback. What did I do that was weird? That what's the thing that's still, and this person did not say that they identified as such a person. They just said that they found what I was talking about offensive. And I was like, and I said, please tell me what's wrong, because at the very least, I don't want to be a hack. And because she also, the person also said that it was low hanging fruit.
Right.
My gender sexuality.
It isn't.
No, I don't think it is either. I think that it's actually, it's certainly the amount of work that I put into
it's
it.
Pretty high fruit.
Turns out I had to fucking buy a ladder.
It's in the top of the tree. Yeah. It's a Christmas star.
Yeah, I bought a ladder for this thing. So, but the whole thing is so she, and I think she was kind of shocked that I was in the community, and Maria's like, we could do a Zoom, the three of us, and you could tell us.
I love it. Everyone that criticizes a bit, would you like to Zoom with a comic and talk about why you didn't like it? I love it. And also, this is just a general thing, when they misremember what you said. And so you can go, actually, this is the joke. I don't know how it translated in your brain, but this is the joke. And I recorded the set in case you want to hear that as well.
Right, because you were there and I was there, and so was my phone. And but it was, so she wrote back and she was like, oh my gosh, you guys this is amazing that you're responding to this. And because Maria was like, I can give you your $15 back. And so she's, in the end, the part that I thought that she thought was too flippant was part of the gender bit. What she didn't like, it turns out, was that I was talking about it at all. That it triggered her that I brought up they, them as a pronoun. Right, and so she tightened up on it, assumed that I was going to be a dick because she doesn't know me, because I am the best kept secret in show business. And
Maria usually hires assholes to open for her. In this lady's defense, Maria has a history. Yes,
that was the other thing all I could think of. I was like, who do you think Maria Bamford has open for her? Jackasses? And so And so, so she goes, I just thought it wasn't worth, how did she put it? It was like something like, I didn't think it was worth your time. And not that she doesn't.
That would make me want to stab somebody in the eyes. I'll fucking tell you what my time's worth. You don't tell me, you don't know me, you're telling me what my time is worth? Fuck you.
Right. I was like, I got nothing but time, lady. I am sitting in a garage with 2 podcasts. So, right. Because, here we go. In my opinion, that joke isn't worth it. It wasn't worth it for her because she was, okay, so here's the thing. I thought the joke was pretty gray area. I found it distracting. This was my first time seeing you, and I couldn't tell right away if you were overtly making fun of using they, them as a term. So it got my hackles up. It took a minute to catch up and shake it off. In my opinion, that joke isn't worth it. Otherwise, I thought...
The laugh you're getting on it? What are they talking? Can you hear my dog, by the way?
Yes.
A little bit.
But don't worry about it. In my opinion, so otherwise, I thought your other material was great. I enjoyed your set and the Q&A with Maria. Thanks for a fun show. So I think that she was misremembering what I said.
Yes.
Was shocked when we both came back with, no, tell us, we're teachable. Are you this person who I'm talking about specifically, and how can I? And I too offered to give her back her $15, but the weird thing is so I got that, and then an hour and a half later I got an email from a guy saying, hey, I teach a gender and sexuality class, and I was just wondering if I just use it for my class and just this week, can I show that?
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
And I was like, because you have gotten me right after this woman hated that bit? Yes, you can. Even though, and I said, please do not do it publicly because I'm hoping to put it on the new album, which will be recorded soon. I fucking hope.
Well, the other thing, it's like, well, I had to, at first I had to get used to you. No, you don't. You don't, she doesn't have to see you ahead of time to get a joke you tell the next show, right?
Yeah.
It exists on its own. And I have no idea what her attitude was coming at you, and she needed to be somehow be convinced that you weren't whatever she thought you were. But that's on her. That's her seeing you and hearing you or something. Maybe you sounded like someone from Wisconsin who was mean to her. You know what I mean? But so
have you had that? Oh
yeah. I mean, here's the thing, like, especially, I don't mind any kind of feedback like that, especially in person, because then I can go, what joke exactly and why? I mean, am I missing something? Of course I'm constantly missing things. So that's fine.
I'm alive. I'm willing to hear it, and I'll take it or leave it if I think you're right, or I think I can fix it. But I do think that bit is worth my time.
Yes, it is worth your time. And we're here to get laughs. We're not running for office, and we're not trying to be poignant. We're here to get fucking laughs. So number one, if a joke is getting laughs and it's consistent.
For some reason, I just want to say, no, I want to be poignant. But I don't. I don't want to be poignant. You are correct.
So if a joke works a lot and then someone says, I have a problem with the joke, that's kind of surprising. Usually when jokes aren't good, they don't get laughs. And so that right there, you got your information, right?
Right. I get the information right there in the moment. Oh, that didn't work.
Yeah. So, it wasn't, the other thing, like, there used to be a time when if someone was a bad comic, you'd just be like, oh, they're a hack. But now, because I think because comedy is so popular and so many people are paying attention to it, now they have different ways to describe someone as a hack, right? Like, you're sexist, you're transphobic, you're homophobic, you're racist, all these different ways. And it's making people more, I think the people receiving the criticism, not you, I'm talking about comedy in general.
Right.
And the whole cancel culture response to that kind of criticism is I think it's more pointed critiques and
super specific.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're saying I hate trans people, you're saying I hate women, and it's like, it used to be like, oh, you're a fucking hack. And somehow people could absorb, comics were like, whatever, I could absorb that. The more specific it got, and because there are more eyes on it and people are using more specific language to describe other people's language, it's making everyone freak out.
Yeah, it's well, and I was talking because I'm, because I have gotten, since I've been doing those Zoom shows for months and months and months.
Yes.
I have gotten emails from people who identify as any number of sexualities and genders, to tell me where I'm sort of coming at it correctly or not. And, I'm not entirely, I might be doing this joke for other people of my generation who need to sort of be able to address a they, them.
Right.
Yeah. And and I may not be getting it entirely perfect for that, but I think like my examination of this thing is so funny because when I was a kid, non-binary, they, them wanting to be treated as a person, not as a little girl, just meant that I was called a tomboy.
Sure. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't, it's so much bigger now and it's so much more, parts of the society are being pulled into it that I don't, whenever anybody criticizes me, my first reaction, of course, is defensiveness. And, but then, and that defensiveness can lead to me going, well, I think that I'm kind of, it's like, I don't need to, I need to understand. I don't need to identify as this, right? I mean, I did that, used a joke, I think it's on the Horcrux album, 2 albums ago, 2 albums ago. And it was about how I had sort of a bad sexual experience and Andy helped me work through it using the LARPing out. Yeah, the LARPing bit. And I had a woman come up to me at the attic in Bloomington and and she was drunk, super drunk, and it triggered her.
Right.
And she was like, I was sexually attacked and that joke isn't funny. It doesn't have any relevance. And I think that it's horrible that you would tell such a joke. And Jared, of course, was like, the hell is she talking about? And because that's...
Yeah.
That's Thompson. That's awesome. And, but I was like, no, I get why it's exactly this situation. You hear the topic and you already jump to the bad memory or something. So, but the thing is you can't, when you walk into a comedy club, you don't know what anyone's going to talk about.
Right.
Unless you've done all the research in the whole wide world. And then maybe the MC is going to bring up, that they once had, a soccer match that went horribly awry, and that's where you had a miscarriage. And you're just like, oh, fuck. So, I mean, it could be any topic.
Yeah, I mean, in every special I watched, there's bits I like more than others, and sometimes I try to pay attention. When am I not paying attention? Like, your attention veers when you're watching some stand-up and it's like, oh, I just heard this topic and I was like, so even with people that and like, you go in and out of a show. So of course you're not going to like, there's some comics, I feel like they do this brilliant stuff and then they're like, all right, I got to close. So it's 10 minutes of drinking stories and 10 minutes of dick jokes. And I'm like, oh, all right, that I know what you're doing, but I don't really want to watch that part of it. I get it. You're just trying to end on a good response and sell merch. Got it.
Right. And I think about, the people that, overwhelmingly, let's say 10-1 from last night's show, I got, literally, I think I got a dozen emails and tweets and DMs and stuff from people, if not more, saying that they really liked that particular frickin' bit. And then one person who didn't like it. Yeah. And sometimes, it's that guy with his arms folded in the second row, where you're like, well, how many people who didn't enjoy it didn't contact me? And you're like, stop.
It's like if we're doing live shows, then afterwards, often these people have to walk by us. And either they decide to say something or they don't, and then that's the end of the night. Like they have their opportunity to complain to you if they wanted to, right?
Right.
If you're out there selling merch or something like that, or usually you're standing in the back of the room if you're not selling merch. There's opportunity for face-to-face again. But because all these shows are virtual, I think people feel like, well, if I'm going to complain, I have to do it virtual as well. And so what would have just been a quick discussion, or her just seeing you and going, you know what, I liked her, I forgot about it, I don't care, gets turned into a complaining email.
Yeah. Or just some sort of, speaking of merch, at the Q&A, I showed merch. I was like, hey, you guys, if you could, if you guys want to buy and I read like the number, and so one of my father's great lines that's on here that I've actually never did a bit about, but it's a great line on this shirt, which is "Give yourself awards, no one checks," which is a classic Elliot comment as well. And then never say no, of course. And then I put the joke hole mask on, which everybody from Patreon hopefully has gotten their joke hole mask. But somebody said, "Hey, it's not on your website," and I'm like, oh, right. Well, I guess if you want to buy one, send me some money. And you're right. But get this. I got 18 orders today for T-shirts and challenge coins.
Nice.
And I was like, oh,
that
thank
email,
God.
Jackie.
What?
Might have been worth that email.
Right. Might have been. Well, and the thing is totally worth the email because Maria, as per usual, is going to pay me a great deal of money.
Yes.
And,
yeah. It's, ooh, nice. I like it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's real. And
that's like real comedy money right there.
That's an actual, yeah. It's, so, but I do think, because the other thing that's been happening is I joined TikTok a month ago, right?
Right.
And so what I'm doing is I'm spending an hour a day cutting a comedy stand-up clip, into 1 minute clips, and putting them up. And then I've got all the hashtags. I've done the thing that Tiff Stevenson explained that I should do, and I've got probably, I guess I have probably 25 set clips up because I'm trying to do one a day, and they're 1 minute clips, and most of them have between like 10,000 hits. And then some of them have 500,000 hits, and 2 of them have over 1 million.
That's crazy.
And it is crazy. And I have 45,000 followers in a month.
That's amazing. And has that resulted in any increase in sales? Did I ask you this last time too? I feel like I did.
No.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I haven't done, I've only done a couple of where I talk to the camera. Those have gotten hundreds of hits.
So stand up only.
Yeah, the stand up seems to really go. But get this. So I took the LA pet joke, because there's 3 jokes now that have gotten and that LA pet joke is from the early 2000s, it's the meow meow thing with the cat, and the people request it, and I'm like, I can't remember how it goes. Because 1,000 years ago. But it was animated by the guys who won the Oscar last year for Hair Love, for the short animated Oscar, 6 Point Express. And so they won an Oscar last year, and in 2003 they animated one of my bits.
Nice.
And
Wait, did they do that for Shorties Watching Shorties?
They didn't do Shorties Watching Shorties. They did a Kyle Kinane bit, they did a Mike Kaplan bit, and they did my LA Pet bit. And it was, but it's so, at one point he's got me throwing away a cat. Like in the cartoon, I pick up a cat and throw it in the garbage. And as you can imagine, There are some people who are triggered by this. There is also a part of the joke where I talk about a dog on a cart, which is based on a dog that had other problems besides mobility issues. Like it was also bleeding all the time, and it was never awake. So, but they put it, they had to get a hip replacement for the dog, and it didn't work, so they got a cart for the dog. And so in the hour and a half that it was alive and in pain each day, it was on this cart. Well, Greg Franklin drew the cutest fucking dog in the world in a cart. And then I make a Captain Pike joke that goes with it. And
that's Star Wars, right?
Star Trek.
Okay.
But yeah, nice work. And so, but the thing is they're so mad. They're so mad at me on TikTok.
Jackie seems like it's working. You know what? You're learning the lesson that all the right-wing comics is piss off your fan base and you become popular.
Oh, but you know what's funny is the defense as well. The people defending me are more than the people that are mad, which is
Jackie,
awesome. Yeah.
Don't say a word. You just let them argue in the comments. You stay above it all. Don't weigh in.
Interesting.
Yes.
I wonder if I ever will. Anyway, let's do a break.
Okay.
Okay, and then do we want to do it's Green Chef this week? Do you want to do the Green Chef?
No.
It's pretty great. Where are we at? So we would go back and we would say things. And what we would say was...
I'll read the top one and then you riff.
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, Green Chef is the first USDA certified organic meal kit company. Whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, or just looking to eat healthier, there's a range of recipes to suit any diet or preference. Recipes are quick, they're easy, they have step-by-step instructions, chef tips. First of all, they think I'm a chef. Maybe it's because it's from chefs. Good, that's probably it. And here's what's important to me, photos.
Yeah,
photos to guide you along. That really helps. Like photos, here's how you turn your oven on. That was a great photo. Thank you.
Thank you,
The ingredients come pre-measured. They're perfectly proportioned. They're prepped. Most of them are prepped, so you just spend less time stressing and more time just eating and enjoying these delicious home-cooked meals. And they kicked off family night with my son and my son's father, because the two of them make the meal and then we all three have it. And now we do it once a week. So it actually started a new tradition. In fact, this podcast is interrupting a family night because we're playing well, Nate, I'm going off topic.
So go to greenchef.com/90 Jackie Laurie and use code 90 Jackie Laurie to get $90 off, including free shipping. So it's greenchef.com/90 Jackie Laurie and code 90 Jackie Laurie for $90 off. And one of my favorite ones was the shrimp bisque. I never cook with fish or shellfish or anything like that. Yeah. Like when I go to the grocery store, and I cook a lot, but I never think about buying fish or shellfish or anything like that.
It just seems difficult.
Right. It seems difficult.
Exotic.
Right. It seems exotic. And Green Chef, quite honestly, made it idiot proof over here with the they simplified it, and it was so delicious. It was so good. So you guys go to greenchef.com/90 Jackie Laurie and use the code 90 Jackie Laurie, and you get $90 off, including free shipping.
Jackie, as we speak, I own the 2 blue properties, Park Place and Broadway. Oh. And I have a house on each of them. And I'm the only homeowner in the game right now.
That is true in so many levels. Jackassery for the burn.
And at one point I stayed in jail for 4 turns in a row just so I could get the other 2 to land on Park Place so I could get a little money because I was
Bernie Madoff, ladies and gentlemen. Laurie Kilmartin just raking it in. Hey, let's do Comic of the Week. Are you willing to do Comic of the Week as well now?
Our Comic of the Week is Julia Claire. Very funny New York lady. She has a podcast with Kate Willett called Reply Guys. This is really good.
Oh, cool.
And Julia is at Julia Tweets.
Oh.
So check her out. She's very funny, the lady.
Find her and live it up.
Guys, Jackie, I have to announce that because it's International Women's History Month, all our comics of the week this month will be women. Yeah.
And in honor of that, tonight's show at Flappers at 7 p.m. Pacific, it's going to be all women, you guys, because it's International Women's Month.
Yes.
So it's going to be a great show.
We have Laura House, Robin Tran,
Mia DeBose.
Yes, and our Rachel Fogletto. Fogletti. Rachel F.
Rachel's coming.
Fogletto. We both worked with her at Helium in Philly the last time we both worked at club. And she's great. So we're excited to have her and all three of those other ladies on our show tonight.
Yeah, and it's 7 p.m. tonight. So you're listening to this now. Feel free to go to flappers.com/shows. And it's a $10 ticket. What you're doing is you're keeping Flappers open. And we split the money.
Yeah. All the comics get paid. So you're helping comics as well. And it's a great show. Everyone does it 15, no more than that. So you're in and out in 90 minutes about. So
yeah, it's such a good one. We're going to have to move the March, by the way. My Monday in March, every Monday in March, April rather, is troubled because I'm going to do this. Have you heard about this show where they've asked me to do it for about 2 years now. And they asked me to do it when they did it at the PAC in person. And they essentially, you pretend you have a late night show and they get you writers and they,
how fun.
It's super fun. And they try to do it personal. And I guess Alonzo did it last month but they've done 57 of them. Danielle Perez did it. And it's such a time commitment that I've never been able to do it. And so I was like, we are in shutdown. We're still in shutdown. I can find 4 Mondays and a Friday for us to do this.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be in April. And so, I'm a little nervous about it because the Dork Forest is the Dork Forest, right? Like allow me to lower the stakes. And my Sunday services show, that's all me. As far as I'm concerned, I'm God, right? So I just want everyone to have fun on the Dork Forest, and I just want everyone to have fun on the Sunday services. Yeah. And this thing has a lot more people involved, and I have to also sort of be like a driving force. Mm-hmm. And then other people are going to try to write in my voice.
Nice.
And I'm like, I don't even know what to.
Now you're going to find out what other people think your voice is.
Oh, I had that horrible experience. You ever take an acting class where they tell you what you would be cast as?
Oh my God, no.
It was super brutal. And we were brutal to each other. And the guy was like, you have to be. The thing is you gotta know, because I had the most amazing headshot taken, and I still use it sometimes. It's a beautiful headshot. And then the teacher looked at it and he said, one of the teachers, because it was like a boot camp thing, so it was like 5 teachers, and one of the teachers looked at it and he said, "This is a beautiful headshot. You look great in this picture, but then you're gonna show up."
Oh my God! Oh my God! What the fuck? Wow.
And he wasn't wrong, because my makeup was perfect. My hair was perfect. Yeah. I have never looked like that without professional help. I need a team. And I don't have one when I go to auditions. It's just me. And which is funny because that's currently the clip that I'm breaking up into 3 1-minute chunks. All my bits are not 1-minute chunks. So I'm doing 1-minute chunks on TikTok and 30 second chunks on Reels, which means that all of my bits take 6 days to get to the end too. Good for you.
I don't know, like part of me's like, all right, so the show ends June 24th. So part of me's like, oh, June 25th, it's on TikTok. But I don't know.
Here's what I recommend. You start and you use my headliner account. Is you start clipping bits into 1-minute chunks, and then you just have them so that you can just upload them. Yeah. Because it takes me about. It probably right now it's probably taking me half an hour to make sure I'm clipping this thing and doing it, but once I learn how to do it, you know the learning curve on this stuff. Once you get the template going,
Yeah.
it'll be fine. But until then, it turns out
My God.
it's going to take me an hour to do a minute, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I decided this room. So I'm changing my room.
Yeah.
I'm going to give my son my bedroom, and I'm going to take this little office and his little room and knock this wall behind me out. So I'll have like sort of a long
Master suite.
Well, it's 10 by 20. I don't know if it's a suite. And then I want to put sliding glass doors at the end so it opens to the backyard.
Oh God, nice.
Yeah.
So you gonna get your guy to do that?
Yes. He's totally recovered from COVID.
That's awesome. Because the last time I talked to him, he was 85%, and I was like, "Sleep it out, brother."
Yeah. Yeah. He took some time. It's good. Yes.
Do you know? I think you know that a friend of ours has it, and
Who?
she's
What?
yeah, and she's
Wait.
compromised. I don't think it's public,
Oh,
which is why.
Okay.
Yeah, which is why I'm not really saying it. But
She's been careful too.
yeah, she's super careful, but she's not super healthy. So she's got
Damn.
pre-existing and all that. But
Damn.
so it's real, you guys. And
I said that I would start taking dates in July. I feel like with Johnson and Johnson, I feel like everyone will be a massive amount of vaccinations in April, May, and June.
okay.
No?
I don't know. I just got a couple of emails from different clubs asking if they could tentatively book me in July, and I was like,
Yeah.
here's what'll happen. When I get the first shot,
Right.
I will book out a month in advance, and then I will know that at least I have it. And I think by the time I get it, everybody else should have it.
Yeah,
Which, you know what that means? That means that the system mostly works if
Yeah,
I'm in the final group.
Yes. We have like several months, and all these Pfizer and Moderna are, upping their production levels. And
Yeah.
Johnson and Johnson's only one shot, which is great. And I think some people are uncomfortable with two shots because they're so paranoid about vaccines. That might make more people take it. I don't know. I don't know. But there was this article in the Atlantic saying summer was going to be fucking awesome. And then it might split back in the fall, in the winter,
Yeah.
people go indoors again. But then maybe by this time next year, it'll be stamped out. It's just the amount of vaccines we can get into people before everyone starts going indoors again in the fall.
Man, it is so interesting to read about the 1918 to 19 because it was 1918 to 1922 essentially. And sometimes they go 18 to 20. But there was another 2 years and nobody was wearing any masks. People were just dying.
Yeah.
And we've got, 200 million more people than we did in 1918. So, but we had a distance visitor today. People want to come over, meet Gordy. And so people have sat in our backyard and met Gordy. Gordy is a good sport. He's a very polite young man. He's a very polite gentleman of a dog, and he likes to travel. We drive up to Andy's mom's once a week.
Yeah.
Take her groceries and do chores and stuff and have lunch with her. She's in our circle. Oh, but so today I was like, I wish Robert and Patrice were in our pod. And Andy looked at me and I was like, I wish the whole world were in our pod. So I could just have lunch and hug everybody. And I'm not the biggest hugger in the world, but I will be. I will be again, man. There's going to be some hugging.
Yeah. I think I'll be down for everything, honestly.
Giant orgy. Just like, let's get Kilbarton some action.
Post-COVID orgy, like the day the pandemic is officially over. Remember, was it Nixon had a bit about when AIDS was cured, how there'd be the fucking in the streets would be insane.
Who did a bit about that?
With Bill, I think it was Bill Hicks, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably. That was the guy. Speaking of normalizing things, he was the guy who most famously normalized porn as a topic.
Yeah, I do remember thinking, oh, he admitted he watches porn. I'd never seen porn at that point. It just felt like it all felt like Larry Flint and below, that sort of level of person, like Scuzzier and Scuzzier, Al Goldstein or whatever from Screw Magazine. Like all these people I read about, I'm like, oh gosh, that sounds awful.
Right.
And then Hicks sort of made it seem like just a pleasant
just a pastime.
Yeah,
a pastime that people do. They're just like, everybody's doing it, don't sweat it, I'm gonna make jokes about it, it's kind of gross, it's kind of fun, leave me alone.
Yeah, it's like if your mom sees your act, she knows you're gonna watch porn, right? You know that, Bill, right?
That's awesome.
No, one time, did I ever tell you about that porn I saw at this club? Wait.
Ooh, we'll be right back after this break.
Did I ever tell you about that?
No, I've never done that town.
Oh, okay. So
that town is a bang bang criminals, aren't they?
You know what? It's El Paso. Well, okay, that'll be it. But it's a good town.
No, I'm sure it's perfectly fine. Are you kidding me? It's a town. I would love to do El Paso. I'd love to do Baton Rouge. Anyway, so you're in El Paso.
So I'm at a club. Could be any club in El Paso. Probably the only one in El Paso. Probably that's what I'm talking about. But it's not a Me Too thing. But it sounds awful.
Right.
Like the headliner is working with, who I'm still friends with, who lives in LA. I don't think he doesn't do stand up anymore, but completely porn obsessed. Brought a suitcase full of sex toys to bring on the road and showed me. And here I'm in a condo. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like I wasn't like threatened, or did I feel like I was being flirted with? I was like, wow.
You know why? Because that guy's social skills are so bad that was him both threatening and flirting with you, but not knowing how to do it.
This is who it was.
Oh, not.
Yeah, so it wasn't flirting.
Watch the video, folks. You can see.
No, it wasn't flirting.
My response to that. Yeah.
Stop.
Anyway.
I love it. I do. So at the end, I forget, it was maybe Sunday. I think we hadn't gotten paid yet, but it was, I think it was after, I can't remember. It was a Sunday afternoon, or it was after we got paid, or we were waiting to get paid.
Yep.
But so he put on a porn in a giant screen at the club, and me and the club owner, Jackie, we agree to disagree. I'm sitting with the club owner, who I think hasn't paid me yet, and this guy, and the porn is a man giving birth to a baby doll through his anus, and that would be how it would be done. Baby doll, sure. And I was like, "What?" My eyes, like a cartoon character, went out of my head. I couldn't even believe it.
Was that the first porn that you ever saw? Really?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not really. I don't think so. But it was the first like non-sex porn, maybe. Where
the first porn I ever
like. This can't be pleasurable. How can that, right? That's gotta hurt. But it also was weird, because I know if I were to go like do a deposition, like everyone would be like, that's terrible. But honestly, it was almost like we were at some sort of curiosity museum watching this very weird thing. And no one felt turned on after, or, everyone felt weird.
The first time I saw porn was also with male comics.
Right.
It was, we were all doing some show, and for some reason, there was either a conference room or a hotel room where there was a VCR.
Yeah.
And the decision is that we were going to watch somebody's set. Somebody had a stand-up set.
No, this happened to me too. Go ahead.
Oh, and one of the comics was like, "Oh, I put the wrong one in," and it was lesbian porn. And
okay.
I was like, "What is this?" And they're like, "Oh, don't you like it, Jackie?" And I was like, "You guys are so fucking stupid. Get this off."
Type.
It was true to form, and
Who?
Those guys?
Yeah.
They're all the guys that I think it was Eric Alver who put it in, but it was all the guys that I came up with in. But it's not like Hannes Finney wasn't uncomfortable, right? Or Jim Olsky wasn't uncomfortable.
Right.
But it was Steve Marmel, Eric Alver, me, and those two guys, and probably a guy named Robert Free.
It was you and 4 guys?
Yes, the six of us. The six of us did stand up for 8 months every night.
Oh my God.
Every night I hung out with these 6 guys.
You feel like you don't feel those are just like brothers, but not brothers, but just like people, it does not, I don't know. I guess it depends on the person in the scene, but it doesn't feel threatening, right?
If it just felt, it just felt like it was one of those, I look back at it and I know exactly what it was, which was, it wasn't threatening. It was unwelcoming.
Yeah. Right.
It was like, you don't belong here.
Yes, we were to remind you that you're a female.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just, looking back on it, it was that. It wasn't threatening at all. It was just, if we were just guys, we could just put this on, watch it, have a circle jerk. And you're like, who's doing that? You wouldn't do that either.
You're interrupting. Yeah. Those
weirdos.
Oh my God. The idea of any male comics together in a circle jerk is so there's not a single male comic I can spare with another one.
Well, at the time they were just a circle of jerks.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's I'll let myself out.
That's yeah. Well,
but
I don't know. Have you watched the morning show yet?
No, but because you were so into it, I looked at the trailer. It looks super intense.
Dude, first of all, the shots of New York are beautiful. I mean,
it's beautifully shot.
What? Yes.
Just cinematography. Yeah.
Aniston's apartment is like, it's weird when like Succession is the same way, where they show these miserable people, but you look at where they live and you're like, what's with it? I want that view. All right, I'm going to knock this wall out so I can look at concrete. Please, can I have that fucking view? So she's great in it. Steve Carell's great in it.
Yeah.
He plays
Reese Witherspoon.
He does not play Reese Witherspoon.
She's
she's also in it though. He plays like a Matt Lauer type of character, and it's very subtle, and he's like this extra layer of sleaze that's really understated. But if you're a woman, you're like, oh fuck, I know that guy. I know that guy.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really good. And there's
it gives me nerves to even think about trying to watch that. But it's beautifully done.
Because they get it right. The thing that's always irritating to me, and then the relationship between Reese and Jennifer Aniston, again, you're like, oh, they're probably going to do it, do it badly, because you're just used to seeing this shit done badly, and then when they don't, it's like so exciting, Right. So their relationship is very complicated and very, Jen Aniston is like the one who made it through the boys club, right? So she's like us. Yep. Like she's an old, like she's like, I did it, I'm okay, and I suffered through all the shit and I'm fine. And Reese is sort of like the younger female comic going, this is all bullshit. And I can't believe you put up with this shit,
Yeah.
It's a lot more complex than that. But in terms of like being able
but that's
to
the veneer
into all this, it's really interesting. Really great performances. And there's all these secondary actors that are like, nailing it. It's really, really, really good.
You can tell with those shows, and even not shows that are not quite that powerful, or movies not that if they have women or people of color in showrunner kind of more powerful positions, because you look at the depictions of women, there's usually some weird cat fight, or if it's all Whitey Magoos, it's always just, there's some weird noble person of color, where the liberal has gone off the goddamn deep end and not treating, and, but because to comparably WandaVision.
Oh yeah. I haven't seen it. I don't know how much pre-watching of other things I have to do.
None. It is.
Okay.
It tells its own story and explains it all. And it
Okay.
has to, because it goes so deep into the long boxes that even someone who saw all 23 movies and all 7 or 10 TV shows
Yeah.
are still not getting stuff. So they explain all of it. And on that level, it's just really good storytelling and acting. Elizabeth Olsen
I've heard.
knocking it out of the goddamn park, man. She has got the accent of Bewitched, and then her accent changes to Florence Henderson, and then her accent changes to who was in Malcolm in the Middle, Jane Krasinski.
Yeah. Mhm.
And then, so I mean, literally the first 6 episodes, they're parodies of different sitcoms,
Oh, okay, cool.
and it is, it's, but. Here's the crazy, like, you can tell that, I can tell that I just speak for me, is that I can tell that there are women at the highest level on this thing because they're treating these women like people, as opposed to like Guardians of the Galaxy, the movie, which I loved, but there's a scene in it where Drax says to Gamora, and he has been one of the male characters calls her a whore, and it's played for funny, right? But he is not, he has already been, we have learned that his race of people are super literalists.
Mm-hmm.
And then he calls Gamora a whore, and she is not a whore by literal standards, right? And then in the second Guardians movie, Gamora is treated great, but the Mantis character, the new woman character, is just belittled. It's such a weird, you can tell that there are no women writing this thing or anywhere near.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's just men who are decent enough men, but they don't know what they're doing. They're like noble.
How many comics do we know? They're fucking great on 10 topics and then talk about women, and you're like, dude, what are you doing? How can you all of a sudden be dumb after you were brilliant on race for 20 minutes? Why? Oh my God. So it happens to screenwriters too.
Oh, yeah, that's it. That's all. And so, civilization is so fucking slow, man.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that because of the curve of me learning shit. So whatever.
Bill
I
Maher
know.
complained about cancel culture. I that phrase makes me so angry that I just deduct IQ points from anyone who uses it, including people I really like. I'm shocked. Like,
don't even use it. Yeah.
Please come up with something else. So
I'll tell you, but you know who's a great comic and who's going to be on the Dork Forest tomorrow is Greg Proops.
I love Greg.
Yeah, talking more baseball. He did a baseball episode before, but he talked about the Negro Leagues this time because he's got to host a couple of things and meet a lot of these old
Yes, you
baseball
did
players.
tell me this last week.
Oh, did I?
Yes, you did.
Well, it's a great story. And so whatever.
In a row, you said Negro, and I was like, oh, Jackie, no, come on.
That's what they were called.
I know,
one after.
I know. It feels like such an old 60s term, though.
Yeah. Agree. Totally agree. Where are we at here, Kyle?
We got 2.5 minutes left.
Oh, interesting. Well, everyone should definitely come to the Flapper show tonight. I got a lot of compliments, too, on my Maria show of my poor people food bit and my Murder Hornet bit, which are both coming along.
Cool. How many people were at Maria's show today or last night?
3,000?
Jesus Christ.
That's what I was told.
Wow.
I tried to get to the VMix, to the Rush Ticks feed so I could see the comments. And I got a bunch of, he's like, you probably couldn't see the comments, but people really liked the pictures on the back of your wall, because Maria had behind her the painting my dad did of her parents and a monster. So,
that's a lot. And are they all people? They're you can't see them. They're not logging on in Zoom, right?
They 25 of them logged on Zoom so we could hear their laughs.
Mm-hmm.
And that was good. And they Rushtix is doing this thing where they're like they're trying to mix the audio from the Zoom to make it sound more like a crowd.
Wow. Live.
So yeah. So and I think and then there's 2 days where you can actually still buy tickets. Well, it'd be Monday, I think, is the last day to listen to it. I would actually be curious to listen to how it sounded.
Yeah.
And I wonder if I probably could get that set.
With what she's paying, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, good.
Oh right. Yeah, probably. Oh, and get this. Do you see this weird lighting behind me?
Yeah.
That was Rusticks going, you have to buy floor lighting that hits the back wall. And I was like, do I? Okay. And so I did, and it's very romantic. It's really
It looks good. Mike Birbiglia has a whole like separate like studio in his place or something where he's got like.
Yeah, speaking of having a giant bag of Scrooge McDuck money, he's gonna have a giant bag of Scrooge McDuck money.
Yeah.
He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Luckily, these 2 lights, a pack, $45.
He's not knocking out walls. He's putting up walls because he has too much space to live in.
He's doing mime.
All right.